Welcome back, YouTube. In this video, I want to share with you something that I have come across being a professional hairdresser for multiple years, an issue of bulk building up on the collarbone and the shoulder area. So if you're somebody that has a length that is either a bobbish length, a long bobbish length, or kind of like that mid length around here, this technique is gonna be just for you. It is amazing. So before we even get started, I kind of want to show you what most people are dealing with. A lot of times, most people, and this is kind of like a mid-length, and so a lot of people will get that bellish look. They don't have a lot of volume up here, and then as that hair travels down, it gets wider and wider. If you have texture in your hair, curl, wave, frizz, this is gonna progressively get worse. What I wanna show with you today is a layering technique that is gonna help kind of, it's not gonna take away 100%, but it's gonna help reduce that bulk at the bottom without removing length. And or a lot of times people wanna keep that, they like that weight there, they just don't like how full it is. So it is gonna be absolutely fabulous. Let's get this wet and I'll be right back. Let's do this. Just for ease of today's sectioning, I'm gonna keep it parted right in the middle. But if you guys part it on the side and if that's your part 100% of the time, then I would do that. And so everything, if you are working off a side part, you're just gonna be pivoting and working off that side part. Everything applies the same way as it is parted in the center. So keep that in mind. Gotta put my glasses on because you know what? Ever since I turned mid-40s, up close vision.
I guess I'm too old for that sort of nonsense anymore.
Gone downhill, man. Holy shnikes. It's all good. It's all good.
Are you very upset? We still love you.
How we essentially want to do this is that we are gonna be working right off of the top of the head, just like that. So when you go to put a comb on there and you want it to be perfectly balanced, it is essentially gonna be right there. And you gotta make sure, again, that your head, like if your head's kind of tilted down, yeah, it's gonna fit all back through here, right? Your head's gotta be straight up. If you're working on a mannequin, if you're working on somebody's head, make sure they're straight up. So that's essentially where these sections are going to tie in. So with that, knowing that that top section is right through here, you can see that right above, I'm gonna take and I'm gonna comb that 100% straight down. Now, a lot of times you will notice that the hair has a natural part right on the top of the head, which it does, right through there. So you can see wherever I put that comb, perfectly balanced, 100% right through here, you can see that. And you can see that part happening right through here. Let's go over here on this side. Let's make sure we can actually do this on this side as well. Boom, nice, absolutely. And it worked out. And you're gonna see how those quadrants right through there, it makes a plus sign, boom, boom. I mean, if you do the boom, it just makes a lot of sense because, you know, it's kind of like a secret, you're putting it out there. Man, that was super cheesy. Gosh, man. Hopefully my editor edits that out because that was like not a funny joke at all. Holy shit.
I think it was blessed are the cheesemakers.
Anyways, so here we go. What we want to do is that, because a lot of times if you really think about that bulk,
maybe it's the massive bulk of it.
Right? Now that bulk is essentially, it's layers and layers and layers and layers and layers of hair that are just kind of collapsing on top of each other. And so it starts to create that triangle effect. Now again, if you have more texture, it's gonna get progressively worse. So where do we wanna kind of remove that? We wanna remove it off the top. And that's what we're gonna do. So let's go ahead and do this. Now, how I like to start is I'm actually gonna start here in this back portion. So as looking above, I'm gonna take a little bit of a section from this side and a little bit of a section from this side. And as you can see, I'm taking sections that are progressively gonna be thinner at the top and then wider at the bottom. Now, as I hold this straight straight up from the head. We're not over directing back, we're not over directing over here. We're holding this straight up, okay? Now, as you can see in the section from camera angle, straight up. It's not over here, it's not over there, straight up. Now as I start to move it, you can see I'm kind of moving back. I'm moving away from it. Now the thing is that this is gonna create a fairly invisible looking layer. Now this layer, and again, we are gonna be able to keep that length that we have at the bottom because we're not removing a lot of weight down through there. We're just kind of removing that top-ish portion, just a little bit. Come over through here, take another section just like that. And I'm gonna take half of the section I took from before. And I'm gonna see where my guide is at, okay? So if I take this out and I look at it and I'm kind of like, oh, cool. Like, this is where my section starts right there. Now I'll come in and I'll lightly start cutting and then I start kind of moving it back, 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 just like that. And this, again, creates the most beautiful, removing that top bulk weight and just movement in general. So sexy. Again, moving that back. And you can see how I'm just moving that closer towards that bottom perimeter, right? So I'm just kind of like starting here and then I'm cutting like that. Now I am right-handed. Now being right-handed, as I start to cut, I'm going to basically cut everything. So I'm gonna work this section around and I'm gonna work it just like this as I would. And then I'll work the top sections like this and then I'll work this section over here like that. If you're left-handed, go the opposite way. I've honestly, and I'm gonna be 100% transparent with you, I've tried to cut like backhanded like this, and my angles, it's not perfect. I'm not perfect that direction. So I'm gonna make sure my angles, my sections are consistent all the way around. Find what works for you, what's comfortable for you. You can see, now working around, I'm always standing in the same position as I just said. Straight up from the head, and now I start to kind of move that back, move that back, move that back, move that back. Man. If there's some sort of song, back it up, back it up. Again, whoa, it's early in the morning, and you don't want to see that. It's too much. Last section for that back area. Straight up, just like so. And of course it's a little bit wet, so you're not gonna really kind of see a lot of that where that's hanging, but as we even start to dry it, you will start to see super invisible, nice amounts of movement and taking out that bulk in the right area. So as we started in the back down that mohawk section, I'm gonna start in the front by taking a little bit of the left and a little bit of the right. Again, thinner at the top, wider at the bottom. Take a little bit of this section right through here, which essentially will be my guide. You can see that right there. I'll come in, rebrush up, because I kind of lost my tension. The hair's starting to dry, so usually I would get it wet. And then I'm moving out towards. Let's take half of that section, so part that down the middle. Again, you are going to go a lot wider. Now you can see that, how that section, skinny, wide. The cool thing about it is it's not even dry yet, and you can really start to see how that is just not looking so bulbous down through here. And as we start to dry that, that'll really start to come out even more. Now, again, this is not like this is still layered, but it's not your traditional layer where you take it up, you cut this line straight across. If you're to do that, you will progressively, I mean, the layers look really heavy. They'll look heavy where you cut it, and then it gradually will get even thinner and thinner towards the bottom because you're removing so much weight. Now, when you angle it super heavy like this, you can still kind of keep that structure at the bottom by removing like that just light amount right through that area that kind of just makes it protrude out. So even if you're wearing your hair more on the natural side, letting it air dry, things like that, it'll look a lot better. If you're blow drying it and forming it and shaping it and that, it'll even look more refined. Let's go ahead and dry this. Let's check it out. Now you all can see how, again, as I even start to kind of shake this and push this out, you don't have a lot of that bulk that was kind of sitting at that bottom. And now you actually kind of have a little bit of a shape that really starts to kind of curve in just a little bit. The smallest little tweak can kind of change that, which is fabulous. And so if you are really considering, if you have a length that is so close to this, whether it is shorter, a little bit longer, and or where it is right now, this is a technique you should strongly consider, because even if you're trying to even get longer, this can be kind of fun because it just gives it that much more kind of cool movement to it, to where it's not crazy commitful, like where you have to, you know, where a lot of times layers can be so, you know, if you're kind of like, you do it and you're like, oh my gosh, like I love it. And then these are really easy to grow out. They don't have to be as short as this. They can be longer. So I just wanted to show you guys some cool things that really honestly can transform your hair and make it to where you have amazing, fabulous hair. Because hair is the most important accessory you wear. Keep it sexy, truly. Very little bulk building up at that bottom, even when I shake it out. This is like a spray wax. I've used these before. I'm gonna link a few of my favorites, different price points. So if you guys wanna try anything, go ahead and check that description below. I like anything that's gonna really just kind of add a little bit of texture to the hair, which is just kind of fun. Makes it kind of piecey, gives it that second day bedhead kind of vibe, which is fun.
It wasn't always fun.
Yeah, and you can wear that super smooth, a little bit of texture. I mean, the cool thing about having a lob like this is to be able to, even if I was to flat iron this would be freaking awesome. You know, that fierce flat iron kind of look to it, you know, as I start to kind of bring up some of that volume, which can be fabulous. Bring out some of that texture so you can kind of scrunch it a little bit and bring out some of that texture, which is kind of fun. And again, like, you know, I will be honest with you guys, when it comes down, when your hair is not 100% perfect, straight guys love it, truly love it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Every hair doesn't have to have its place. There was a client of mine that was so about every piece had to be absolutely perfect. And I was like, truly, I want to just share with you from a straight man's perspective and not even a hairdresser, the more kind of not so perfect you are, honestly, the better. And it's that perfection. She was doing that perfection for other women. Now, coming from a guy, I'm like, it's almost, we like to see these kind of flaws. Everything doesn't have to be perfect. Cool? So, just want to share with you that if you're struggling with trying to, the thing that I would probably recommend is just to make sure everything is balanced. That is so crucial. You know, like when you get up from having bedhead in the morning, your hair's not balanced. It's just crazy. Now, before you leave the house, you know, make sure it's balanced and you're not uneven. I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. And me just kind of playing with that, kind of bringing out like that wave and texture. I didn't put an iron in, I just blew dry it with my brush. Oh, it's coming soon. It is, I'm so excited about it. It is gonna be awesome. So, but no, it is just blow dry it, give it a little bit of a bend to it, not a curling iron bend. I wanna thank you guys for hanging out, truly. My name is Jake Thompson Hair. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you guys in the next.
Goodbye, ladies.